Teisha with Shalom TV's News Update. In the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy, many Jewish organizations and volunteer groups have joined in the relief efforts. The Jewish Federations of North America Monday said that it had authorized $500,000 to be dispersed for storm victims in the New York metropolitan area and in New Jersey. $250,000 was distributed to UJA Federation of New York, and $250,000 was distributed to the 10 federations in New Jersey. The funds come from both the JFNA Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund, which has raised over $245,000 in donations in less than a week, as well as from the JFNA Emergency Committee Reserve Fund. Other federations across North America have raised hundreds of thousands of additional dollars through individual relief funds. UJA Federation of New York is making up to $10 million available for Hurricane Sandy emergency relief. The funds will be provided to UJA Federation's network agencies and synagogues so that they are able to respond to urgent needs in the days and weeks ahead, including emergency food, temporary housing, financial counseling, and emergency cash assistance. The American Jewish Committee donated $50,000 to the American Red Cross to help in their efforts to deliver urgent assistance to Hurricane Sandy victims, with AJC Executive Director David Harris saying, quote, "The Jewish tradition teaches us to help those less fortunate." Relief funds have also been set up by the Union for Reform Judaism and B'nai B'rith International. Volunteer efforts have been seen across the Jewish community as well. Uri Litzedek, an Orthodox social justice organization, has been handing out food and supplies to those in need in the New York City area, as have students from Yeshiva University. In Brooklyn, Mazbia, a network of kosher soup kitchens that usually provides 500 meals a day, has been making more than 4 times that number since the storm. And help is coming from out of the area as well. Nechama, which means comfort in Hebrew, is a Jewish disaster response nonprofit located in Minnesota. They arrived in the New York area late Thursday to help clean up efforts and utility crews. Repair the World is an advocacy group for volunteering and service in and by the Jewish community. They have a master list that they're constantly updating for volunteer efforts, and you can find out more at werepair.org. And turning to Israel now, where 9 Israeli border guard officers were lightly injured Tuesday at the Shoefat refugee camp located in northern Jerusalem. The unit was operating in the area when residents of the Palestinian refugee camp began hurling stones at them, hitting 8 officers. A 9th officer was stabbed in the back while arresting one of the attackers. All 9 were treated for light injuries and evacuated to local hospitals. The suspected stabber sustained moderate injuries during his arrest and was evacuated to Jerusalem's Hadassah Ein Kerem Hospital. Earlier Tuesday, 3 Israeli soldiers were injured in an explosion near the Gaza border. As you may have seen on IBA News, one of the troops was lightly to moderately hurt and was evacuated to the Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba. The Jerusalem Post reports that the B'nai B'rith organization, along with the Ecumenical Theological Research Fraternity in Israel, kicked off a joint conference on Monday night aimed at countering anti-Israel sentiment within the large Protestant churches around the world. According to Alan Schneider, director of the B'nai B'rith World Center in Jerusalem, Protestant churches have over the past 2 decades become increasingly aligned against Israel. Just last month, senior leaders of several U.S. Protestant churches sent a letter to Congress calling for an investigation and possible suspension of U.S. military aid to Israel. Following the letter, many Jewish organizations canceled their participation in an annual Jewish-Christian Dialogue Conference. Schneider said this conference was aimed at giving Protestant church representatives that do support Israel a chance to meet others like them from other countries and denominations, saying they are often lone voices in their churches who have taken personal initiatives to counter this wave of anti-Israel agitation. And so we hope that this will be the beginning of ongoing contact and cooperation among the participants. More than 20 Christian and Jewish leaders from around the world are participating in the 4-day conference. And finally, with Election Day upon us, many in the Jewish community wonder how much the Jewish vote will have an effect on who wins. While Jews only make up about 2% of the U.S. population, political analyst Douglas Schoen said they could have an impact on toss-up states like Florida and Ohio, who each have significant Jewish populations. Schoen, who worked on the past campaigns of Ed Koch and Bill Clinton, told the Al Gemeiner Jewish news website that of the states still in play, Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, President Obama needs 70 to 75% of the Jewish vote to win those three states. So far, he is on track to come pretty close to that, though by no means is it certain that he will. And how those three states go and how Jewish votes in South Florida and outside Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and in various suburban Ohio communities go will play a large role in determining who the next president is. Analyst and journalist Shmuel Rosner disagrees. A Times of Israel piece quotes Rosner saying earlier this year, "All in all, it is worth remembering that thus far no presidential election in U.S. history has been determined by Jewish voters flocking to one side or the other." And that's Shalom TV's News Update. I'm Teisha Bader.